After a historic scoring season, SGA has walked away with the 2024-2025 Kia MVP. He had a great season. He put up 32.7 points, 5 rebounds, and 6.4 assists. He also led his team to the #1 seed in the West while also making a trip to the NBA Finals. However, was this better than Nikola Jokic's season? Jokic put up 29.6 points, 12.7 rebounds, and 10.2 assists. He's the third player in NBA history to average a triple-double for the season. Both these players had great seasons, but who had the better one? One had a great team around them, and you can't knock OKC for building that team. They drafted well, they signed great players, made the trades, and they did everything well and built a great team around Shai. Jokic, they've already been to the finals, they've already won it, and they had a great team, but they lack in the bench. They only have the starters, and once Jokic goes out, this team is atrocious. This team would maybe be a play-in team at this point. With OKC, if you don't have Shai, this is still a great team. Definitely a play-in team, definitely a playoff team. They probably want to make as deep of a run in the playoffs. This team is phenomenal. It's well-rounded. They averaged through 82 games 120.5 points per game, ending the season with a 68-14 record to be the #1 seed in the entire NBA. This team is great, well-rounded, has 2 great bigs in the front court, has a great backcourt, and a well-rounded bench. I don't know what else you can ask for. But did Shai deserve the MVP? Did he carry his team like Jokic carried his team? With Shai not on the floor, there's only 6 games this season. They still averaged 120.5 points and had a 5-1 record. I know that's a small sample size, but this team without Shai can still get it done. Even if they didn't have him in the playoffs, they would probably be a second-round team. They'd probably be a first-round exit, but this team is still making the playoffs. Through 82 games this season, the Nuggets average 120.8 points per game with a 50-32 record. This team is great. They all have the right chemistry. Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter all play very well off of Nikola Jokic. But this team, once Nikola Jokic goes on the bench, is atrocious. We saw this in the playoffs. This team cannot sustain a lead when Jokic is not on the floor. When Jokic didn't play through 12 games, they had a 4-8 record, averaging 109.8 points. This is a 10-point decrease. OKC didn't even have a decrease with their points per game. This team is not efficient when he's off the floor. Jamal carries the load, and Michael Porter had a rough shooting season, but Aaron Gordon, he still can't step up in a big way. This team only has one true star, and it's Jokic. And then sometimes when Jamal Murray shows up. They don't have a big to come in off the bench. DeAndre Jordan is way too old. Zeke Naji, he's just not your guy. This team without Jokic is maybe a play-in team. They're definitely a first-round exit. And I believe that Jokic deserved the MVP more this season with how well he had to carry this team. When looking into the net rating, it is based on how many points they score and how many points they allow. With Shai on the floor, they average 12.6 points of a net rating. This is a great net rating and a great MVP statistic to show how efficient that Shai is on the floor. But without Shai, I know it's a small sample size, but they're 17.6. This team is still very efficient. This team would still make the playoff run that they need to make. They would make the first round. Jalen Williams would step up in a great way. But did Shai have as much of an impact that Jokic had on the team? The net rating for the Denver Nuggets with Jokic on the team was 3.9. This team didn't really have a bench, so Jokic would have to stay on the floor a lot, and these games were close, and they only had a 50-32 record. With Jokic not on the floor, they have a negative net rating of 4.5. This team cannot get it done without Jokic. As we saw earlier, they had a 4-8 record with him not playing this season, and he had to carry every minute in the playoffs just for them to get past the first and then to push it to Game 7 against OKC. I believe the MVP race truly came down to voter fatigue. We kind of saw this when Jokic got beat out by Embiid. Jokic won 2 MVP awards in a row, and then Embiid had a phenomenal scoring season. His stats were close enough, and Jokic did have a down season in scoring from his last 2 MVP seasons, but this was definitely voter fatigue. With Jokic having a chance to win his 4th MVP in 5 seasons, voters did not want to let that happen. Shai had 71 out of 100 first place votes, and Jokic had the other 29. This is not a great look. Come on, Shai did not have that much of a greater season than Jokic. He did not have 71 more votes. I would have been way happier if this was like a 51-49, because this race was way closer. Jokic had 34 triple-doubles this season, and Shai did have a great defensive impact that Jokic doesn't really provide. This was a very close race, and I think you've got to look into the metrics for this one. Jokic had to carry his team to the playoffs. Without him on the floor, this team is awful. But with Shai not on the floor, this team is still great. And I'm not trying to knock that this team is not built great. Sam Presti did a great job building a great team around Shai, and Jokic, with getting their coach fired and their GM getting fired, he still led this team to the playoffs, won the first round. This guy basically did this single-handedly. Jamal Murray did not have a great playoff showing. Michael Porter Jr. is definitely getting traded this offseason. Aaron Gordon did have a great playoff showing, but as soon as he got hurt, this team was not the same. Christian Braun had to step up as a scorer, and he's just not that kind of player. Shai, he can rely on Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein, and many players off the bench. They could switch the rotation up, and this is also to show why that Shai didn't deserve the MVP compared to Jokic. This is the most valuable player. Jokic is the most valuable player in the league. He's the best player in the league. He's shown that year in and year out. Yes, Shai did have a great season, but I think that Jokic deserved the MVP way more than Shai did. We can also show that this is voter fatigue because of Jokic's MVP season. Yes, he put up these great stats, but his last year MVP numbers were worse than this year, and he didn't win the MVP. I'm not trying to knock on Shai, but Jokic last season averaged 26.4 points, 12.4 rebounds, and 9 assists, and he did that even better this year, having way better numbers, had more of a defensive impact, and more of an offensive impact. We saw this game in and game out. Jokic would go on the bench, he would come back in, and this team was blowing leads. When Shai goes on the bench, this team can go on a 10-point run. We just got to break it down more. I feel like Jokic is a way more impactful player, but Shai, he did not carry his team as much as Jokic did, and I think the voter fatigue is overlooking a phenomenal season. What do you think? Do you think that Shai deserved the MVP, or do you think Jokic deserved the MVP? I'd like to hear about that in the comments, so drop a comment down below and subscribe.